great to have you. I'm sure others will be joining us. Mary Hunt here for Water. And this is our meditation of Monday, April the 11th, 2022. We're glad to see all of you. Welcome at this very special time when Lent, Ramadan, Passover, and several other religious celebrations converge. As was written in the Aspen Institute blog post recently, for the first time in over 30 years, Muslims, Jews, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Hindus, and Baha'is will celebrate their spring holidays at the same time. That is a very exciting thing. I want to begin with a land acknowledgement, as we always do at Water. We here at Water are on Indigenous land, and I invite you to take just a moment and think of the Indigenous people whose land you are on at this moment. We are on the traditional and contemporary land of the Piscataway and Anacostan peoples. We acknowledge the trauma that is deeply embedded in the foundation of this country and of other countries as well. We affirm the right of all people to bring their whole selves and their full stories into this space. Water's work, as most of you know, is to bring about social justice using feminist religious resources. This is our 8th meditation this year. Last month, some of you will remember that we had Lillian Lewis, who led us on the Solitude in the Vault. It was really a memorable event, wasn't it? The Solitude in the Vault. And Brad Lutz was before that, and he took us new places as well. So we really very, very happy to have diverse voices and to hear new people. And so tonight we will have with us Jan Elsea, who's a longtime water person, needs no introduction at the water office, a person who's been with us from the early days of water. Really, Jan, you were one of the early supporters of water and have always been around. Let me simply mention our format tonight. Jan will offer some brief remarks to spark our contemplation. And then as we do, we'll spend 22 minutes in silence together in contemplative prayer. And if you listen for the gong will start the meditation. And when rung a second time, the gong will end the meditation. But there'll be 22 minutes in between, and you can just put yourself on you can put yourself on, get rid of your video if you want, or you can leave your video on. But if you would now just all mute your phones, that would be very helpful. Oh, Lillian, I just mentioned your name. Lillian, I said how you took us into the vault last month, and I'm glad to see you're back, and we very much appreciated that memorable session. And Mary Ellen has joined us. And Mary Ellen, I just happen to have your book of poetry at my right hand. This is a book that Mary Ellen Chown did with her colleague, Andrea Nairn. Am I pronouncing that correctly? And
yes.
It's a wonderful book called Grace Drifts In. And I bet there's a meditation in this somewhere, Mary Ellen. It's a beautiful new book of poetry, and it's beautifully illustrated so that the poems and the illustrations really make a package. And I love it. It's just a wonderful thing. And I had the pleasure of reading it today as just part of my own meditation. It's really a wonderful gift to us. So thank you. And think about maybe doing a meditation from it. Any one of these poems would be a beautiful thing to share. So that's how it's going to work tonight. We'll have the presentation from Jan, the 22 minutes, and then, we call this contemplative prayer and communal dialogue after the fashion of our friend Nancy Sylvester, and she has pioneered this approach. And it means that after we finish our meditation, after we've had this time together collectively, we have the opportunity to make comments, raise questions to ourselves and to others. And it really is a different format than many people experience because the conversation has a different quality. If we started with the conversation, it would be one thing, but it has a different quality, I think, after this time together. So that will be our way of operating tonight. And we will finish at 8:30 Eastern time. Coralie, I think that must be, 9:30 your time in the morning? Am I right? Am I off an hour? I'm not sure with daylight savings time. Coralie's in Australia, in Melbourne. And we'll finish at that time, but we always leave the Zoom open if people want to chat a little bit. I would remind you that Rachel Maddow comes back on tonight at 9 o'clock, so there may be some race to the televisions by then, and we'll certainly be well finished by then. But it's kind of an exciting night that Rachel Maddow will be returning to her regular, where she ought to be, as far as I'm concerned, sitting at her desk. So let me, with delight, welcome Jan Elsea, who's our presenter. Jan is a longtime friend, as I said earlier, of Water. She retired from a long career as the founder and president emerita of Communications Skills, formed in 1978. She's been a consultant, a public speaker, and an author in communications, executive development, and leadership skills. She coaches in these areas as well, and she's a lifetime member of the National Communication Association. And I dare say that Jan did all of this before there was even a Zoom. No one had heard of Zoom, Jan, when you had your career. Her book, First Impressions, Best Impressions, which was published by Simon & Schuster, was translated into Dutch, French, Japanese, and Spanish. And her work has been published in a variety of professional journals, as well as even in the Washington Post. She has served on boards and commissions. She's currently the chair of the Resilient Legacy Council for Free Arts for Abused Children in Arizona, which I think is just a wonderful charity that I hope you might say something about at some point. She received a Spirit of Philanthropy Award from the Association of Fundraising Professionals. She served on Church Council for Paradise Valley United Methodist Church, and she has chaired its worship committee. Dr. Elsea received the YWCA Metro Phoenix highest honor, the Dorothy Willey Award. And you can imagine, with this kind of career and the number of students that I'm sure you mentored and taught and helped along and prodded and cajoled and pushed and mostly supported, that many people are deeply in your debt. So the floor is yours, Jan, with thanks in anticipation for your leadership for us tonight in our contemplative hour on your theme with Mary Oliver, Praying. Welcome to you, Jan.
Thank you, Mary. Mary Oliver wrote, "It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak." I have Parkinson's disease. It affects nearly every part of my life: my voice, my limbs, my brain. Suddenly and without warning, fatigue can hit, and I literally have to lie down. And that's kind of hard to do when I'm on a bus filled with other seniors going to a baseball game or a museum. Sometimes I trip over my own feet and I fall. Good thing I do Pilates weekly, as I'm gaining better balance and failing less often. Sometimes my brain seems to go into neutral, and I can't remember why I'm in a room, or even how to spell sometimes a simple word. Of course, I just turned 80, so all of the above could be the fact that I'm old. Ironically, in many ways, I'm healthier than I've ever been because of Parkinson's. I've lost weight. I haven't had a cold or a flu for over 3 years. I have no sign of COVID. And thanks to the classic medicine for Parkinson's disease called carbidopa levodopa, my tremors are rare and my appetite is quite good. Fortunately, 18 months ago, I moved from my 30-year residence at a home in Central Phoenix to a wonderful retirement center situated on the campus of Arizona State University in Tempe, Arizona, called Mirabella at ASU. Mirabella's mission is to provide lifelong learning opportunities for its residents and to create intergenerational activities with our students at ASU. Mirabella offers us 3 wonderful meals a day with a choice of 2 restaurants and great food, bi-monthly housekeeping, which I've never taken advantage of until now, happy hours, wonderful staff, than an array of daily activities, from lectures to concerts, from games to Bible studies, and from music lessons to physical therapy, complete with a swimming pool, a spa, and a fitness center. But the most amazing gift Parkinson's disease has given me is my getting in touch with God and my angels. I talk to them throughout the day and sometimes well into the night if insomnia has struck. Sometimes just I talk out loud. Sometimes I sing to them. I ask questions of them. I make comments to them. And often I ask for their help. Until Parkinson struck, my prayer life was primarily at church or writing in my journal. It was rarely spontaneous and almost never about seemingly insignificant things like, God, there looks like there are two choices. Which do you recommend? Or, angels, I cannot find my car keys and I have looked everywhere. Or, please give our president courage. I love these interactions and the joy I'm finding in prayer. As Desmond Tutu wrote, prayer is not an escape from real life, but a passage to it. I don't know what the future will bring, but prayer will help me through whatever awaits. As Mary Oliver said in her wonderful poem, Prayer, it doesn't have to be a blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention. Then patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. Harry.
Thank you kindly, Jan. Thank you, Mary Oliver.
You're welcome.
We move now into our contemplation using Jan's wonderful testimony and the poem of Mary Oliver. We'll spend 22 minutes now in communal silence. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a lovely time in your own meditation. Thank you again to Jan for a very profound and personal sharing and the choice of a beautiful poem by Mary Oliver, one of my favorites, I must say. And you and Mary together make a wonderful package for meditation. Really, Jan, you gave us something extremely rich in your own sharing as we all move into our later years, as it were. My sister and I like to say that we've successfully dodged the early onset of anything. So I think most of us are in the same situation. So let me simply thank you again, and also Mary Oliver. May her memory be a blessing.